Hey guys, welcome to Soundcheck. I'm your host, John. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Magnatone Super 15. Let's go. So Magnatone's been a brand that's eluded me over the years. I've always been very interested in trying some of their amps after hearing ZZ Top use them. And I watched a lot of Phil X growing up, so watching him demo a lot of guitars using Magnatone amps it really kind of sparked an interest in this brand. I just never got around to trying them. So when Josh from Guitars to Be Played here in Nashville, Tennessee told me they had a bunch in stock, I really had to go down and try them. And as you can see, I came home with one. So a little bit about me, I'm a point-to-point hand wiring technician for a company called Third Power Amplification out here in Nashville, Tennessee. So as you can imagine, my taste in amps is very kind of honed in at this point. I know exactly what I'm looking for. I don't only look at how they look and how they sound, but I also think about the guts, how they're wired, if they're going to be a pain in the ass for me to service later on, etc., etc. So I watched a guy named Psionic Audio. He is an amp technician on YouTube. Go check him out. I watched him tear apart this amp before I even bought the amp to make sure I knew what I was getting into in case I did need to service it myself down the road out of warranty. Now that's a really good segue into talking about the differences between a point-to-point handwire build on a turret board and a PCB mounted hybrid build like this Magnatone. Now, is there a sonic difference between the two? And in my opinion, if you have a very high quality PCB design using high quality components like this Magnatone uses, Mallory caps as well as Nichicon radial caps, if you use these high quality components well and you have a well designed PCB, they will sound pretty much identical. Now where you will have differences is in how you service the amp and affordability when it comes to servicing the amplifier. A turret board point-to-point hand-wired build is very easy to service and swap components out. For example, all you would have to do to swap a bad filter cap is unsolder the joint, clean the joint, put the new cap in, solder it back up, and you're good to go. Generally speaking, they're all top-mounted components, and flowing solder into those joints is very easy. However, with these PCB-mounted components, you may have to pull the board to get to even relatively simple components. And this is where the cost of ownership comes into play. You are paying less upfront for the amp, but you may pay more down the road in service. So it's kind of a trade-off. Me being an amplifier tech, down the road I may be able to handle those repairs myself, but we'll see. Now that we've gotten that discussion out of the way, now let's talk about this Super 15 as an amplifier. So the Super 15 is a 15 watt dual EL84 powered amplifier. It has three 12AX7 ECC83 preamp tubes, two for the first and second gain stages, one for the phase inverter, or it has a buffered effects loop, as well as the big selling point of this amp for me was a speaker emulated out with a built-in reactive load and a headphone out. These two features, especially living in close proximity to people in a studio, makes life very much livable. Now, I was afraid of using the speaker out because usually these don't sound that great to me, to be completely honest with you. But this one is voiced so well that you don't need any extra IRs. You can go direct to front of house, you can go direct to your recording interface, you can go direct anywhere, and it will sound pretty much like this speaker cab mic'd up. Now I'll stick in some sound clips later on so you guys. So all of this feature set that comes with this amp is well worth the price in my opinion. So now let's talk about pricing really quick. It's $26.50 for the head and the 1x12 speaker cab. The cabinet is actually very expensive. It's a $550-ish 1x12 cab, which is pretty dang expensive. But when you think about it, both these logos light up because they're bridged using a 7-pin MIDI jack. So both of the logos light up. So in that case, and when priced against competition as well as their own amplifiers in their upper range of amps, considering the feature set of this amp and the construction, that is a very, very, very fair price. So how do they keep that price down? At the end of the day, labor costs are lower because these are not full point-to-point handwire builds. So the labor costs are lower, PCBs are cheaper, they're using low cost but also high quality components. So that's why this amplifier comes in at that kind of lower end tier of the boutique market, but there's nothing low quality about this amplifier. And in my opinion, PCBs get a bad reputation from amps like the Blues Junior and other amps that are very, very expensive to service on PCB when they do break. But if things are used right, like I said before, if they're high quality components used well and the PCB is designed well, there really is a very, very good case for keeping those costs down, because then you can get people these amplifiers for much better prices. And $1,950 for a head like this is really not bad considering its competition. So enough rambling from me, let's get into some tones. I'm going to run this through the speaker emulation direct into my interface for the first clips. Then I'm going to mic it up with an SM57 and give you kind of a comparison between the two. Keep in mind that the SM57 is going, I'm going to have to keep the volume kind of lower because I am in close proximity to neighbors, but it'll give you a good idea of what you can expect with the SM57 versus just going direct using the speaker emulated out. For this demo, I'll be using an LSL Saticoy custom with a humbucker in the bridge and a single coil in the middle and neck, so an HSS configuration. And yeah, let's see what kind of tones we get from this. now that you've heard the sound clips, I want to know what you guys think of the sounds down below. Is there a difference between the emulated out versus the SM57? Did you like one versus the other? Would you use the speaker emulated out? But let's talk about my final thoughts really quick about this amp, because I have found this amp to be amazing. So as a studio amp and a small venue amp, this thing really does shine. If your sound engineer wants to go direct into the front of the house, you have the speaker emulated out. That sounds fantastic, in my opinion. That's subjective. As well as going direct into a mixing console if you want to demo a track really quick, or if you're trying to demo super late at night, or if you're trying to actually cut a track late at night and you're in your apartment in a studio like my home studio here. It is an invaluable tool without having to run an external like Mesa load box like I have to on that BTR23 behind me. If you're looking for a small wattage boutique studio amp that still retains some of that artisan level of handcrafted feel, this is where you want to look. If you're looking for a full point-to-point handwire build, you're gonna have to step it up to one of their upper end tier amps or look elsewhere, because this is a PCB mounted handwire build still, so you aren't getting that kind of like glory moment like the gates of heaven opening when you pull the chassis out. It does look a little bit more sterile, yet you can tell it is still hand soldered. So this was a very good balance for me as a hand wiring tech, because I can appreciate the cost measures that they had to implement to get this amp to market properly and have a certain level of cost effectiveness to this amp, because this is going to be a higher volume seller than their upper tier $3,000 amp heads. If I had to rate this amp out of 10, I would give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's a very solid amp. It is kind of like a one-trick pony. It does classic rock, British rock tones very well. The cleans are very good, bouncy, but kind of a little bit sterile. It kind of sounds thin when you roll back your volume a little bit, so it is kind of a one-trick pony. But if you're looking for a classic rock machine that you're gonna kind of leave your volume on 10 all the time and kind of just go, and you want something that sounds like this amp, this is where you want to look. So with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If this was helpful, leave a comment down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm still kind of trying to warm up to these reviews, talking about the camera things, so if I can improve in any way, please let me know. But leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for checking it out.